Absolute crores. Absolute crores square. Absolute crores power. Absolute higher. Absolute crores cube. Absolute crores cube. Absolute crores cube.
Absolute extreme. Absolute extreme square. Absolute extreme power, absolute power. Absolute extreme power, absolute cores. Absolute extreme power, absolute cores power, absolute power. Absolute extreme power, absolute infinity. Absolute extreme power, absolute infinity power, absolute power. Absolute extreme power, absolute infinity power, absolute cores. Absolute extreme power, absolute infinity. Power, absolute cores, power, absolute power. Absolute extreme cube. Absolute extreme double cubes. Absolute extreme super cubes.
Quint power, absolute power. Quint power, absolute power. Quint power, absolute extreme. Super everything power, everything. Quint power cube. Quint power double cubes. Quint power super cubes.
Sex power, absolute power. Sex power, absolute crores. Sex power, absolute infinity. Sex power, absolute extreme. Sex power, quint power. Super duper everything power, everything. Sex cube. Sex double cubes. Sex super cubes.
Sept pyre. Sept pyre power, absolute pyre. Sept pyre power, absolute crores. Sept pyre power, absolute infinity. Sept pyre power, absolute extreme. Sept pyre power, quint pyre. Sept pyre power, sext pyre. Mega everything power, everything. Sept pyre cube. Sept pyre double cubes. Sept pyre super cubes.
Alt power, absolute infinity. Alt power, absolute power. Alt power, absolute crores. Alt power, absolute infinity. Alt power, absolute extreme. Alt power, quint power. Alt power, sex power. Alt power, set power. Ultra everything power, everything. Alt power cube. Alt power double cubes. Alt power super cubes.
Affinity. Extreme affinity power, absolute power. Extreme affinity power, absolute cruise. Extreme affinity power, absolute infinity. Extreme affinity power, absolute extreme. Extreme affinity power, quint power. Absolute extreme affinity super duper. Extreme affinity power, sext power. Extreme affinity power, sept power. Extreme affinity power, warp power. Giga everything power, everything. Extreme affinity cube. Extreme affinity double cubes. Extreme affinity super cubes.
Absolute impossible.
Absolute.
Possible.
everything rainbow. Absolute everything rainbow square. Absolute everything rainbow power. Quit PR. Absolute everything rainbow power. Sex PR. Absolute everything rainbow power. Sep PR. Absolute everything rainbow power. Octo PR. Absolute everything rainbow power. Extreme affinity. Absolute everything rainbow power. Absolute impossible. Absolute everything rainbow power. Absolute chromie. Absolute everything rainbow power. Absolute spicy pepper. Absolute everything rainbow cube. Absolute everything rainbow double cube. Absolute everything rainbow super cube.
Absolute Stinger. Absolute Stinger Square. Absolute Stinger Tower Twin Tower. Absolute Stinger Power Tower. Absolute Stinger Power Twin Absolute Stinger Power Absolute Absolute Stinger Power Absolute Window. Absolute Stinger Absolute Stinger Absolute Stinger
Music Infinity Square. Music Infinity Power Quint Piao. Music Infinity Power Sep Piao. Music Infinity Power Extreme Infinity. Music Infinity Power Absolute Curing. Music Infinity Power Absolute Everything Rainbow. Music Infinity Power Absolute Snare. Music Infinity Cube. Music Infinity Double Cube. Music Infinity Super Cube.
Absolute Infinity Square. Absolute Mushroom Infinity Power Quint Pi Or. Absolute Mushroom Infinity Power Sep Pi Or. Absolute Mushroom Infinity Power Extreme Affinity. Absolute Mushroom Infinity Power Absolute Cure Ome.
Infinity power Sep.
Cure Ome. Absolute Mushroom Infinity Power Absolute Everything Rainbow.
Hikahu or reset. Hikahu or reset square. Hikahu or reset power quint dog. Hikahu or reset power absolute Baromi. Hikahu or reset power absolute super duper Eva Bravo. Hikahu or reset power absolute super duper captivity. Hikahu or reset power absolute radioactive. Hikahu or reset cube. Hikahu or reset double cube. Hikahu or reset super cube.
Absolute you're the little. Absolute you're the little square. Absolute you're the little power Quint Piao. Absolute you're the little power absolute Karumi. Absolute you're the little power absolute super duper Brava. Absolute you're the little power absolute super duper captivity. Absolute you're the little power Kavu or SF. Absolute you're the little cube. Absolute you're the little double cube. Absolute you're the little super cube. Minecraft Finity. Minecraft Finity Square. Minecraft Finity Power Queen Power. Minecraft Finity Power Absolute Crony. Minecraft Finity Power Absolute Super Duper Raven Bravo.
Hinwilfinity. Hinwilfinity Square. Hinwilfinity Power Quint Pyar. Hinwilfinity Power Absolute Kuromi. Hinwilfinity Power Absolute Super Duper Eva Bravo. Hinwilfinity Power Hopperfinity. Hinwilfinity Power Absolute Super Duper Catfinity. Hinwilfinity Power Minecraftfinity. Hinwilfinity Q. Hinwilfinity Double Q. Hinwilfinity Super Q.